சன்லேண்ட்ல சமைச்சா சக்தி தானா வரும்.
மாணவர்களின் சாதனைகளை போற்றும் SNS Institutions கோவை.
இண்டிகஸ் அட்மைரா, நீங்க ஓல்டானாலும் வீடு கோல்டாவே இருக்கும்.
இப்போ ஒரு கிரிட்டிக் ஆகணும்னா you have to have something unique about you that whether it is me or Prashanth or Blue Sattai or anybody, my opinions about how women should be treated on the movie, which is wrong according to me, because I'm doing the same thing before the national award also, I'm doing the same thing after the national award also, but somehow afterwards becomes like, oh wow, before what about all this shit that I did before? Hindi cinemas bounced back because Pathan happened, Jawan happened, Gadar 2 happened, something like that. What happened this year? I asked the same guys, can I do a book on K. Balchandar? Because see, one of the things you always feel is that when somebody is at the end of their career, you want to record their thing. They said, no, nobody outside Tamil Nadu knows him. So watch a press show and watch a movie, and if the movie is not interesting, I don't review it.
சோஷியல் மீடியா பூம்க்கு அப்புறம் வந்து இன்ஸ்டா ஸ்டோரி போகிறவங்க வந்து எல்லாருமே வந்து ரிவ்யூவர்ஸ் ஆகிட்டாங்க. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஹாஃப் இப்படி, செகண்ட் ஹாஃப் இப்படி அப்படின்ட்டு. இப்போ உண்மையாலுமே ஒருத்தங்க வந்து கிரிட்டிக் ஆகணும் அப்படின்னு நினச்சாங்கன்னா அவங்களுக்கு உங்கள் அட்வைஸ் என்னவாக இருக்கும்? ஆஸ் அ நேஷனல் அவார்ட் வின்னர், குவாலிட்டிஸ் ஆஃப் கிரிட்டிக்ஸ் என்னென்ன அப்படின்னு நீங்கள் வந்து நினைக்கிறீங்க?
டஃப் கொஸ்டின். இது வந்து இப்படி இருந்தால் தான் ஒரு கிரிட்டிக் ஆகணுங்கிற ஒரு இது இல்லை. நீங்கள் எந்த மாதிரி கிரிட்டிக் ஆகணும்னா இருக்கலாம். பட் பாயிண்ட் இஸ், இப்போ ஒரு ஹோட்டல் வச்சுக்கோங்களேன், ஒரு 4 ஹோட்டல் இருக்குது, 4 கிரிட்டிக்ஸ் மாதிரி வச்சுக்கோங்க. ஸோ ஐம் லைக் ட்ரைங் டு டூ திஸ் metaphor thing. I'm not going to share it's work or not, but let's just try. So you go to hotel 1, you like the food there. You go to hotel 2, you don't like what's being served. Why don't you like that thing? ஏதாவது ஒரு ரீசன் இருக்கும்ல, அது ஏன் பிடிக்கலன்ட்டு. அது மேபி இட்ஸ் நாட் ஹைஜீனிக், மேபி அட்மாஸ்பியர் நல்லா இல்லை, யூ வாண்ட் சம்திங், maybe the chef was rude, the waiter was rude or something like that. ஏதாவது இருக்கலாம். But the point is, are you getting anything out of that experience? அப்போ தான் நீங்கள் வந்து இன்னொரு வாட்டி அதை கிரிட்டிக் கிட்ட போவீங்க. லைக் see, I'm not a person who easily says இந்த படத்தை போய் பாருங்கள், இந்த படத்தை போய் பார்க்காதீங்க. எனக்கு பிடிச்சதாங்க சொல்கிறேன். பட் இருந்தாலும் ஓரளவுக்கு ஒரு certain number of people come and watch my reviews, because over time நான் வந்து இதுதான் நானும் ஒரு பர்சனாலிட்டி எஸ்டாப்ளிஷ் பண்ணிட்டேன். இப்போ and I'm talking about social media age. We live in an age of personality. How do you, if a critic aganona, you have to have something unique about you that whether it is me or Prashanth or Blue Sattai or anybody kind of a thing, we have a certain personality. People come to us for a certain reason. அதுதான் வந்து you have to develop. And what is it that you're getting from this? Is it just entertainment? That is also a valid thing, because people are looking at it as entertainment. See, we can't all sit on a noble high chair and say இதுதான் ரைட்டு, இதுதான் தப்பு, இதை பற்றி கண்டிப்பாக அப்படின்னு நம்ம ஆதங்கம் நம்மளுது. பட் அது வந்து மக்களுக்கு வந்து அவங்க வந்து எல்லாருமே அந்த சினிமா வந்து ஒரே ரெஸ்பெக்டோட பார்க்கணும், ஒரே இதோட அந்த மாதிரி we can't tell, because it's like it's a common mass medium. So what are you bringing? உங்களுக்கு என்ன யூனிக்காக இருக்குது? நீங்கள் என்ன வந்து நான் உங்கள் ரிவ்யூ பார்த்தேன்னா எனக்கு என்ன அதுலேருந்து கிடைக்குது? ஸோ ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள், மேபி யூ ஹாவ் அ வெரி ஸ்ட்ராங் பொலிட்டிக்கல் பேக்ரவுண்ட். ஸோ நீங்கள் எல்லா படமுமே அந்த பாலிட்டிக்ஸ் லென்ஸில் பார்த்துட்டு ஒரு ரிவ்யூ கொடுக்குறீங்க. தட் குட் பி வெரி யூஸ்ஃபுல் ஃபார் மீ, பிகாஸ் லைக் ஓகே வாவ், ஐ டென்ட் திங்க் ஆஃப் இட் திஸ் வே, இந்த மாதிரி கூட யோசிக்கலாமா கைண்ட் ஆஃப் அ திங். ஆர் மேபி யூ ஹாவ் some other background. So, or maybe you're very good at analyzing the writing of the movie, or maybe you're very good at analyzing the technical departments of the movie. அது வந்து மற்ற ரிவ்யூஸில் கிடைக்காது, பிகாஸ் நீங்கள் சவுண்டை பற்றி பேசுகிறீங்க, விஷுவல் எஃபெக்ட்ஸ் பற்றி பேசுகிறீங்க, எது பிகாஸ் ரீசெண்டாக I saw Fall Guy, and I saw a review where they had written ஈஸியாக வந்து எதெல்லாம் க்ரீன் ஸ்க்ரீன் போட்டிருக்காங்க தெரியுது, எது மேட்டுன்னு தெரியுது அப்படின்ட்டு. But actually I didn't find it that easy to find, like and I saw it on an IMAX screen, so it wasn't very easy for me to find out which is which. But maybe you can explain that. So ஏதாவது ஒரு uniqueness இருந்து நீங்கள் அதை சொன்னீங்கன்னா, or it could even be your delivery, நீங்கள் பேசுகிற விதம். It could be like நீங்கள் ரொம்ப கேஷுவலாக பேசலாம், இல்லை they might like your personality. That's what I'm saying. It's become the cult of personality now. லைக் அது வந்து நீங்கள் எப்படி மெயின்டைன் பண்ணுங்க? ஸோ அகெயின் ஐ வாண்ட் டு டெல் யூ தட் just because I do a certain kind of review, that is obviously not the only way to do a review. நீங்கள் எப்படி வேணால் ரிவ்யூ பண்ணலாம், பட் அந்த ரிவ்யூ வந்து இட் should strike a chord with people. It's like being an actor. பட் அந்த யூனிக்னஸ் உங்களுக்கு என்ன அப்படின்னு கண்டுபிடிச்சிங்கன்னா, then you'll be able to differentiate yourself from other critics.
Your evolution of reading cinema, a particular reference to how you read cinema, how it has changed. Particular reference to 2 movies. So you had written in your review when you had reviewed okay Orukal Oru Kannadi that I think there was no woman on the panel when they wrote this movie. And then there is a review about Animal that has elements of misogyny and all of that, and then you absolutely loved it. I mean, I don't have a problem with you loving the movie or not. I actually put a lot of effort and watched the movie and watched your interview with the director as well. My question is, has the political stance evolved over the years? And if so, how has it changed in you reading the cinema?
That's an excellent question. What's the other one?
The second question is, do you miss writing? As in, I love your lights camera analysis in the blog. And you also used to write Southern Lights in FC. So do you miss writing such long cut chewing as you put it?
I miss that. But the thing is, right now, there's just no time to do that. Because, your video is what sells, right? It's like I really miss doing that. And if that was a valid job option, I would definitely do that along with the video, but now it's kind of a thing. Sandeep Vanga has made a movie that is named Animal. It's not named Jai Shri Ram. So the minute I enter, the title itself is an indication that Animal, it's like I know that this is not a normal guy. So to expect him to behave normally is not to enter the world of the movie and to trust my opinions about how women should be treated on the movie, which is wrong according to me, because I think everybody has the right to make movies about every kind of person, whether it's politically correct today or politically incorrect today or whatever it is. Now, so the thing is, so for me, I really don't remember okay review. So I'm just taking a little bit of a leap here. Maybe I felt there that given this, the women has nothing to do, which is typical in Tamil cinema anyway. But it's like they maybe that's what the thing is. Whereas in Animal, see, the point is, when somebody is cracked in the head, right? Somebody is the kind of character who knows which hand his dad uses while peeing. He's not a normal guy. He's a kind of a psycho. So to expect behavior from him that a normal world thing accepts is, I'm watching that movie because it's somebody so alien to me, and that's thrilling the way that man is constructed. It's not like me at all. It's not like any of us at all, right? It's like one fantasy creation of one hyper alpha caveman kind of person. Now that's what that movie is. So it's not evolved as such. I don't know, because it's very difficult for me to judge that aspect of it. Probably you guys are a better judge of it. But I don't see, for example, I will still maintain that Lolita is one of the best books ever written. It's about pedophilia. It looks at a pedophile with a sympathetic light, but that is the author's prerogative. And I'm a big believer in following what the author or the writer wants me to. If he or she is taking me by the hand and taking me to a world, I have to respect that world. I might have problems within that world and how it is constructed, but I have no right to say that, how can you write about this? How can you say this? How can you do this? No, everybody has the right to say, do whatever they want to say. If I find it disgusting, I won't read it. But now I find that I hate Sanjay Leela Bhansali, but I'm going to watch Hiramani anyway, and I'm going to hate it a little more because it's triggering the very hate that I have for him anyway. So I'm going to write a bad review. I'm like, what is that logic? Like for example, I with all due respect to Aranmanai 4 or Aranmanai 3 or whatever it is, after you see one Aranmanai, you know that this is not your bag, right? People love it. It's a blockbuster. I'm really happy the film is a hit because the industry really needed a hit. But I know that if I'm going to watch it, I'm not going to probably going to give it a good review, right? Why go watch something that you know that you're not going to really enjoy, or it's not your within your zone of interest, and then look how I snuck in an Oscar winning. No, so anyway, so like there is a thing there, and then to kind of go, you know that something is triggering you, like that's what I'm saying. It's like there are so many options. You have millions of options of things to watch, right? It's like, why subject yourself to something that you know is going to trigger you? I don't get triggered by many things. It's like, so even when I say Aranmane 4, it's not a triggering thing. It's more like, what am I going to find to say in this movie? Because it seems to be like a generic horror comedy kind of thing, and that's really not my bag. I really have given this genre a shot, and it's not working for me. So why would I go and see it again and again and say it's not working, it's not working, it's not working? I just ignore it. But again, like, it's not about the genre itself. The genre itself is valid, but it's like I'm not clicking. Like, for example, if I don't like movies about let's say serial killers, or it triggers something in me, then I should not be reviewing that film. So for me, it's more like I really enter every world. That's a thing that, again, I don't have control over it, but I go into the world. If it happens to be a patriarchal world, it is a patriarchal world. If it happens to be a misogynistic world, it is a misogynistic world. You can't do anything about it. But within that, what is the story you're trying to say? That's of interest to me, because for me, human behavior, how you depict it on screen, that's the most fascinating thing. To kind of thing, which is why, like on the S.J. Surya example, it's like when you do that, somebody is likely to think, S.J. Surya, wow, what a out of the box thinker. Like, for there's another person who's going to say, God, what a vulgar story. It's like, like it all depends on you. So there is no one version fits all that's going to kind of address any movie. So this is the way I have think, and I've realized increasingly that I've become a bit of a like I'm on the sidelines, because most people use their political views to enter a movie, judge it through their lens, and then watch the movie, which I feel is a little redundant, because then you basically want the movie to reflect you. And I don't know if that's such a useful way of evaluating any art.
2024 தமிழ் சினிமா அப்படின்னு ஒரு
It's quite bad, la? 2024.
தமிழ் சினிமா எப்படி இருக்கு?
It's quite bad.
இட்ஸ் பேட்னு சொல்றீங்களா சார்? ஓகே, இட்ஸ் நாட் பேட்ல அப்படின்னு என் காதுல கேட்டேன்.
ஒண்ணுமே பெருசா இல்லையே. It's like, yeah, so it's like the only film I really liked cinematically speaking was Star. Otherwise, like, it has been a fairly I kind of like Lover, but அந்த ரெண்டு படத்தை விட்டா ஒன்னும் பெருசா like, yeah.
Okay, let's hope for the second half. நினைக்கிறேன் நிறைய பெரிய
I have a feeling that we are going to have a, it is not just in Tamil, and see, right now we are celebrating Malayalam cinema, but consecutively Nivinoda padam, Tovinoda padam rendume like சரியா போகல. படமும் ரிசெப்ஷன் கிரிட்டிக்கலாவும் பெருசா பேசப்படல, ஆடியன்ஸும் இது பண்ணல. ஸோ இது எல்லாமே ஒரு வேவ். லைக் certain films will work, but majority of the films I think are just going to suffer simply because there's a big uncertainty about எது ஒர்க் ஆகும், எது ஒர்க் ஆகாது. And I think only the really confident filmmakers are going to be able to put a product that they want. இல்லைன்னா எல்லாமே வந்து இந்த இவங்களுக்காக இது பண்ணலாம், அவங்களுக்காக இது பண்ணலாம்,
இது ஒர்க் ஆகுதுன்னு இது பண்ணலாம். 2003ல உங்களோட ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ரிவ்யூ இருந்தது, கரெக்டா சார்? தம் படத்துக்காக. ஸோ கட் பண்ணா நேஷனல் அவார்ட் ஃபிலிம் கிரிட்டிக்காக.
கட் பண்ணா இல்ல, குட் 5-6 years happened. It's just like
அது நம்ம
இப்போ
கதை ட்ரெண்ட் படி நம்ம வந்து எப்படி இருந்தது சார் அந்த ஒரு மொமெண்ட்? ஏன்னா வந்து யூ பிலீவ்ட் இன் சம்திங் அண்ட் அதுக்கான ஒரு ரெக்கக்னிஷன் வந்து கிடைக்கும் போது எப்படி இருந்தது சார்?
ஸோ ஐ ஆப்வியஸ்லி like the obvious answer is I was happy, but for me, more than anything else, see, first of all, awards are a very, and the particular jury thought that I was deserving that year. Had it been another 3 people, they might have chosen somebody else. So you always have to be aware of that fact. It's very thrilling and it's very all that is there. But why that was very gratifying was that it finally established me as like, this is a serious profession. So a lot of people started taking both film critics around me. I don't know whether elsewhere, but in the blog list or Suthi Irukkanavanga side, they started paying more attention to the reviews, the kind of reviews that I was trying to do. That was what was really the biggest takeaway of the award, because see, an award, it comes and goes, right? But that fact that நிறைய பேர் சொன்னாங்க, ஓ ஃபிலிம் கிரிட்டிக் நேஷனல் அவார்டு இருக்கிறதே எங்களுக்கு தெரியாது அப்படின்னு சொன்னாங்க. லைக் லேட்டர். பட் see, in our country also, this is like one thing, you know, if somebody gives a stamp of approval, suddenly that person becomes valid. Like till then, it's like I'm doing the same thing before the national award also, I'm doing the same thing after the national award also. But somehow afterwards becomes like, oh wow, before what about all this shit that I did before?
பட் ஒரு பாசிட்டிவ் திங் ஐ திங்க் வந்து நீங்கள் சொன்ன மாதிரி வந்து ஒரு மூவி வியூவிங் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் வந்து நீங்கள் கற்றுக் கொடுத்துருக்கீங்களா, ஒரு படத்தை இப்படியும் பார்க்கலாம், ட்ரை பண்ணி பாருங்க
And
அப்படின்ற
again,
மாதிரி.
நான் கற்றுக் கொடுக்கல, நான் அந்த வெஸ்டர்ன் கிரிட்டிக்ஸ் கிட்ட இருந்து கற்றுட்டு லைக் I kind
ஒரு
of,
பிரிட்ஜ் மாதிரி இருக்கீங்க இல்லையா
yeah,
சார்?
so I think that's what it is. It's like it's a very good validation and a very good introduction for other people to my work. So I'm very grateful that happened. And that's kind of
எஸ். அண்ட் நீங்கள் டீச் கூட பண்ணுறீங்க இல்லையா சார்? யூ டீச்?
not anymore, because this travel has become very problematic. So I was teaching a course at the Asian College of Journalism, and that was very very rewarding, because we just like talk about cinema, and ஒரு 5 நிமிஷம் வந்து ஒரு படத்தை பார்த்துட்டு we'll stop, and then no, first we'll see the whole film, and then we'll watch it in 5-minute installments and discuss the various aspects of it. So there was a class I loved taking, but இப்போ எடுக்க முடியறதில்ல.
I wanted to ask, like, what was going through your head when Fahad Fasil said that he doesn't want people taking his cinema to the dining table? And also, I wanted to ask, the moment that Malayalam cinema is having right now, like, how would you say that it's having like a proper Kantara moment where the culture is also traveling? Because the formula seems to be like take a Malayali out of Kerala and it's working. So what do you think about that?
So I'll answer your second question first. See, one thing that we love to do as journalists is immediately say trend, you know. It's like Hindi cinemas bounce back because Pathan happened, Jawan happened, Gadar 2 happened, something like that. What happened this year? Kannada cinema suddenly like is center stage, occupies center stage. But so where is it now? So we love creating these எல்லாம் அதான் சொல்லல, everything has become these instantaneous verdicts and decisions. We want that immediately, like, oh, Malayalam cinema is at top of the game kind of thing. Yes, they produced a series of 4 to 5 hits. Wait till the end of the year and see what is the rest of the year going to be like. Hopefully it will continue, and they've always had a culture of making these movies, but now it's like it's become a bandwagon, like to jump onto one thing and make a narrative out of something. That's what I was saying. Now after the Nivin and the Tovino films, the Malayalam from India and Nadigar had not done well. Now what? Like now 2 high-profile films have not done well. So what are you going to do about that? Right? So, and also, once you cross that sense of exotica, right? Because you need interesting content from somewhere. Right now, that's coming from Kerala. Tomorrow, it might come from somewhere else. So I don't know if we can easily say Malayalam cinema right now is having a moment, you can say, but if you say that everything has changed or this or that, because we know about 3 or 4 films, the rest of the films are flopped in Malayalam. We're not talking about those films, right? So it's, again, this is not to undermine that at all. They made some wonderful films this year, but that's kind of I think it's again being a little blown out of proportion, because everybody wants something sensationalistic as a hook for a headline, or try to make a story out of something. I actually got a book offer saying, do you want to write about Malayalam cinema? I said, what? Like they called and said, no, because Malayalam cinema everybody is watching. I said, who's everybody? I said, like a thing. No, if you look at it, a majority of the grosses are still coming from the traditional Malayalam territories, the Gulf, Kerala. What do you mean? Like, okay, yes, a few reviewers are watching here and there, but they were making it out like all of India is like watching Malayalam cinema, like kind of a thing. But I'm saying, so why don't you let me write a book about maybe 80s Malayalam cinema? That they don't want. Bharathan Padmarajan, all that kind of stuff. That they don't want. They want now to like oh Fahad Fasil, like Avesham, that because they can put Avesham picture on the cover. So like I after my Maniratnam book, I asked the same guys, can I do a book on K. Balchandar? Because see, one of the things you always feel is that when somebody's at the end of their career, you want to record their things. They said no, nobody outside Tamil Nadu knows him, which is kind of he's done Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam films and kind of stuff, but he's mainly known as a Tamil film director, and that didn't apply to him. So similarly, had Maniratnam not done Bombay and Roja, and had they not gone over, they probably wouldn't have sanctioned this book either. So there's a lot of things that go into these things that we kind of think ida reason, but it's actually something else. Coming back to Fahad, I think, see, the thing is, yes, at that moment it was funny, but he himself said in that interview that when he meets up with, I forget who, it was like Amal Neerad or somebody like that they talk cinema all night or something like that, he said. I forget the name of the person who it was. It's like one person he mentioned and he said, we talk cinema all night kind of thing. Why is he doing that? Right? So, I think what he's trying to basically say is like sometimes just let it go. I don't know what was his phrase. Maybe he didn't want to do the interview. Maybe his PR person forced him to do that interview and said, okay, Avesham is a hit. Let's do this interview. I don't know what, but you can clearly make out that he's a reluctant interviewee. He's not somebody who's who talks very easily. So maybe it's part of that. But I do think that there are people who discuss endlessly about sports and music and this and that and all that, and we are among a group that discuss cinema. It's like I'm not saying it's life. It's not replacing life, but it's a part that gives pleasure to life. It gives joy to life. It's a wonderful creative pursuit. Like, what's wrong in talking about it, right? It's like it's wrong to be, because we are not talking about who's the bigger star or this or that. We are talking about the content, right? That's what we're talking about. I don't think there's anything wrong at all, because if you're able to get pleasure out of something, what's wrong in going after that? If you take Carnatic music, there'll be people who go endlessly about whether T.M. Krishna sang this better or Sanjay Subramaniam sang this ragam better or something like that. Why are they doing that? Just listen to T.M. Krishna, forget it and come back. Just listen to Sanjay Subramaniam, listen and come back home, forget it and come back. No, but it lingers. That lingering is what we're trying to process. Why does it linger? Because you have an interest in that. Why do you say that? It's been a week since I saw that movie, I still haven't been able to shake it out of my head. Because that movie had an effect on you, an impact on you, and you want to talk about it, and you want to find the right people to talk about it. So I think, I'm not saying he was not being truthful or something like that, but yeah, I think what he also meant was, like, in a way, find the right people to talk about it and just don't randomly do, because see, I myself don't like to, because I know certain people really like cinema, they know cinema, even if they don't agree with the film or whatever it is, I know I can have a proper discussion or conversation with them. But there are other people who don't really, they're just like, is the film good or not? And when they start telling me that my review is wrong or something like that, then I don't even bother to contradict them, because I know that there is no use in talking to them about that or fighting that opinion or something like that. Another thing I'll tell you, it's a little tangent, but today, like even 10 years back, I remember in my blog, people used to have discussions. Like, they would talk about something, and today every comment seems to be like a verdict. They're like, this is what is the actual, they're not willing to like go back and forth like they did earlier. So I think we've also reached a phase where everybody wants to be, my opinion is this, and this is the only opinion that matters. And like, that's also a situation that's come through, which has made it very difficult to, think. But yeah.
Now, you have also said that there's a lot of bad movies that you have watched. Is it the fear that's stopping you from going back and saying, I'm going to waste my time, I'm not going to have anything to write?
See, if I can review 3 films a week, I would rather review 3 films that I at least think will give me something to write about and something to think. Because if it's going to be a template movie, see, there are some movies like you cannot avoid, like the big star movies and things like that, you cannot avoid because you have to review those films. But at least the others, let me review the ones that seem promising or interesting. But now I've actually come to a point where if I watch a press show and I watch a movie and if the movie is not interesting, I don't review it. Because what is the point in telling something negative about a movie that just let it go? I mean, it's not even... does the movie give you anything to think about, to kind of write about, to talk about, to discuss? That's what's interesting. Because, and I don't believe that, you know, like a lot of people will say things like, oh, this is just a leave your brains at the door movie. I don't think that's a thing, because comedy is one of the hardest things to write, and you can enjoy the structure even while kind of a thing, because Avisham is a brilliant bit of writing. It's not just some masala mass thing that's happening. It's like you're creating a huge situation for 3 boys, spending half an hour following those boys around the situation, waiting for them to find Fahad. It's not that the audience has discovered Fahad. We find Fahad along with the boys. Then Fahad takes over, and then we start following how he controls the boys. So the POV changes, and we now follow Fahad becomes the driver of the movie as opposed to the boys becoming the driver of the movie. This is fascinating stuff. It's not ordinary writing, it's extraordinary writing. You may not register all this, but it's brilliant. Like just the way that thing has been written. Like, because the entertainment value is so high, maybe we are not noticing these things, but talking about it is gives you something to talk about. But if I watch some general something, it's not going to give me something to talk about. I try to give most movies a try, but beyond the point, if it's not giving me anything to talk about, what am I gaining by putting out a negative review of something? You know, it's like, unless...
If you are the chief minister of cinema for one day, like Mudal one, what are the changes that you will bring into the Tamil industry?
Interesting. ஒரு நாள் சிஎம் ஃபார் ஃபிலிம் இண்டஸ்ட்ரி
நீங்க
இருந்தீங்கன்னா
ஃபீட் பண்ணிருக்கீங்கல?
இல்ல என்ன சார்?
So I would try and, I think, regulate the releases, because I think right now a lot of films are suffering because there is such a chaos over the release. I mean, because ஒரு வாரத்துல ஒரு 4 படம் 5 படம் அந்த மாதிரி வருதுனால ஒரு மேபி ஒரு படத்தை நோட்டீஸ் பண்றாங்க. பிகாஸ் எஸ்டே லைக் இந்த வாரம் 3 படம் வந்ததுன்னு நினைக்கிறேன் தமிழ்ல. people had heard of Star. The other 2 films, இப்போ வருதா, அந்த படம் இப்போ வருதா, like I don't know whether they didn't publicize or என்னன்னு புரியல, but they didn't know that it was coming. So I think you know, regulating releases is it's a very tough thing, because every producer is going to have their own money problem, idu adalam. But I think if you want the industry to flourish, and if you give them 1 or 2 movies a week, there is a chance. But in the mari, if you keep dumping movies, then I don't think it's very, especially the smaller movies suffer. So, and adala there may be 1 or 2 gems and you won't notice that. So I think, yeah, regulating that would be something that, among many things that I would do.
டாப் ப்ரையாரிட்டி. ஓகே.
சன்லேண்ட்ல சமைச்சா சக்தி தானா வரும்.
மாணவர்களின் சாதனைகளை போற்றும் SNS Institutions கோவை.
இண்டிகஸ் அட்மைரா, நீங்க ஓல்டானாலும் வீடு கோல்டாவே இருக்கும்.